Welcome to our webinars. For today's webinars, it will be the first part out of 4 parts where we will cover on how you can enhance your order to cash processes. Housekeeping rules to take note of is, first and foremost, after this webinar, you will get the slides. My team will be sending you the slides and together with the recording. During the webinar, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, feel free to ask in the chat box below. Me and my teams will check the questions and we will be answering your question as soon as possible. If you are new to this GoToWebinar, you'll be able to see below. There will be a question task, a question panel for you to ask any questions. Again, me and my teams will try our best to answer as many questions as possible. With that being said, let me start a bit about Simtrax. For us, Simtrax, what we have been doing here is we have been helping our clients to fully digitalize their processes and to be EDI ready. And how do we do that? We do that by crafting a tailor-made experience for you according to your processes, according to your needs. And we've been doing this for more than 35 years, and we have been helping more than 3,000 companies globally. So we are able to help you from wherever you are. We have our coverage started from Los Angeles all the way to Singapore, 24 hours. So for today, I'll be talking about a part of order to cash processes, especially on the order management. We'll be covering on current situations, some food for thoughts, but it can be case studies, a live demonstration, and last but not least is a Q&A. So you don't need to wait for the Q&A sessions to ask your questions. During the sessions, feel free to ask the question anytime you have a question. So when we are talking about order to cash workflow, these are the entire process. It starts from you receive an order all the way to recording the payment. For today, I'll be covering on the order management, which is receiving your orders and how you can fill the orders. For the other 4 processes, we'll be covering throughout the next webinars. So when we are talking about order to cash, or when you're talking about order management, what we have been seeing with our existing clients, this is what they have been doing. First and foremost, you will receive a PO, you'll receive a documents from your vendor, from your buyer. It can be via email, they can upload to you on your portal, or maybe they will fax it to you. And what do you need to do next? What you need to do next is you need to create a purchase order report. And when you're doing this, before you even do this creation, you'll need to do some checking. You need to check whether it is the correct orders, or do you have this item and whatnot. And after you do all those checking, you will create the purchase order. And after you have created the purchase order, you need to create the sales order. And same thing, before you create the sales order, there might be some checking that you need to do. So all these processes might take some times. What we realize when we are talking to our clients are, first and foremost, different clients or different vendors will be sending you different format. Some will send you a PDF file, some of them will send you a CSV file, and each PDF file will have their own different format. Because of all these different formats, one orders might take maybe more than 5 minutes. We have cases where it takes maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour, and it is because of the content of the purchase orders and the numbers of checking that they need to do. So this is a very troublesome workflow. Last but not least is because of all these situations, your orders or your client's orders cannot be processed immediately. For example, today I will send you a purchase order, but because you have a lot of purchase order coming in that day, my orders will only be processed maybe next day or maybe 2 days later. And this is something that everyone wants to prevent. Not only that, you have different SKU convention, you have different naming convention. For example, I might be naming the same object differently using this different number of code. When you are doing your purchase order record, sometimes I might be sending you duplicate, or maybe I'm sending you an amended purchase orders, which you might not notice because you say, hey, this is the same purchase order numbers. This might be a duplicate. Let me just ignore it. But turn out it is not a duplicate. There's a different content. There's a revision, which might cause you to process the wrong orders. Last but not least, have you thought of any other verifications that you need to do before you create your sales order, before you create your purchase order? For example, you need to check this vendors or this buyer credit limit. You need to check whether you have this item, or you need to check whether this item's code is correct. So again, there's a lot of checking, there's a lot of verifications that you need to do just for simple processing of your orders. With that being said, not only you need to process the orders, there are a lot of aspects which I've already mentioned. You need to enter the details, you need to double check, you need to correct any mistakes during the data enter. You need to wait for the documents to be fully loaded. You need to train your staff and whatnot. So let me share with you a poll to get a better understanding or to get your thoughts on this. So, okay, let me ask the poll here. That okay. So, in your opinion, or with your current situations, how are you processing or how are you handling your order to cash workflow? Is it still manual? You have a team to fill in the information, or maybe it is completely automated. The moment the orders come in, your team don't need to do anything and it will go through to the system. Okay, maybe I'll wait a few more seconds for everyone to vote. All right, okay, let me close. Thank you for your attendance. Okay, so the result that I get is more than 50% of you have partially automated, but so far no one completely automate the process. Let me share with you some data for you to consider. So according to our research, according to our some data collections, we find out that a mismanaged order to cash processes can cost you upwards of 25% of your revenue. Not only that, for those who have started to automate it, for those who have implemented RPA, they are able to improve their customer satisfaction and also efficiency. Last but not least is the cost that goes through your accounting department will be around 30% just to manage this process. Let's come to the next questions. Let me share with you. So in your opinion, after listening so far, what are your thoughts on manual processes, especially for those who mention that they have not automated the process? Do you think that manual processes is costing you time and cost? Do you think that it is expensive, or maybe it's not expensive, or you're not sure? So I'll wait for a while for everyone to vote. Okay, maybe I'll wait a few more seconds for everyone to vote. All right, thank you so much for your participation. So what I get is 100% of you say yes, ordered manual processes are expensive, which I completely agree with you. So with that being said, when you think about all these manual processes, all these costs and all this time that has been spent on just a simple data entry, just a simple data extraction, which costs you a lot, which is very time consuming, these times can actually be used for something more critical. Maybe your teams, rather than spending on data extraction, data entry, they can use it for strategy discussion. They can use it for engaging with your customer for better customer satisfaction. So what then can we do? I can see that more than 50% of you mentioned that you have partially automate your processes. Let me share with you how this, for those who haven't automated your process, let me share with you how it can be automated and how it looks like. In the automated state that we envision, or for what we have done with our clients, when the documents come in, these documents can be your purchase order, it can be your any other documents, can be your accounting documents, can be your credit documents, invoices, and whatnot. What we can do is, using our platforms called Compleo Hybrid, we are able to do a few checking. Remember, previously I mentioned to you that different vendors will send you different format. So what can we do? What can we do is we will be able to utilize AI/ML called Azure Form Recognizer to be able to process all these different formats. And not only we can process this format, we can help you to do some checking. For example, we are able to check whether your inventories has this item, whether this vendor has reached the credit limit, and if this vendor has a different item convention, number convention, or SKU difference, we'll be able to translate it automatically for you. You don't need to have your team to manually look through the different numbers and code just to key in. And once we do that, we will upload to your ERP system. So in your ERP, you have all this data ready for you to be used. What do you want to do with this data? What do you want to use with these documents? It is up to you. For example, you mentioned to us that, oh, if these documents, I'll need to share it internally. I need to share it with my team. I need to archive it. So no matter what you need to do, you'll be able, all this process will be automated. And to share with you case studies of what we have done for our clients, in particular for the purchase order management. This is a client, FMCG clients called Caffeine Care. So what Caffeine Care has been doing is they have been processing their POs from various buyers. On a daily basis, they'll receive a lot of POs. And all these POs are different formats. And what do? What they do is they manually process all these incoming documents. And for all these incoming documents, they will have a dedicated team to process it. They will convert from a purchase order to Excel file for their internal reporting purposes. And after that, they will convert it to a sales order. So these two separate processes are still manual before we talk to them. And then what happened? There seems to be a bottleneck in their processes, which is what they are trying to solve. They are trying to reduce the manpower bottleneck to make this process faster. They want to reduce the turnaround times. The moment these documents come in, they want to be instantly processed. And this is what I'm sure everyone want to achieve. They want to have a zero error rate. Now imagine that when you are processing your purchase orders, just a single mistake, for example, an extra zero or an extra digit will cause you a lot of problems. Maybe rather than processing hundreds quantity of this item, you are processing 1,000 quantity of this item, which can cost you a lot of money and time just to correct these errors. So what do we do for them? How we help Caffeine Care is we help them to automate this process, which I will showcase to you a concept, a live demo after this. So what happened is when Caffeine Care's clients or buyers want to order something from them, they'll email to a certain email, for example, sales@caffeinecare.com. And what we will do is we will automate the process where we will pick up the moment these documents come in. We'll be able to monitor, oh, okay, there's a document, there's a purchase orders. So what we do, similar to what Caffeine Care has been doing, they want to convert it to an Excel file. So that's what we do for them. We will automate this creation of Excel file. And not only that, after they have created the Excel file, after they have created the sales order, they want to distribute to the end users. They want to distribute to the clients. So rather than they manually email to maybe 10, 20 customers, we will do it for them. From the documents, we'll be able to see who are the senders and immediately reply back to that senders. So all this process requires, I would say, minimal intervention from their team. Okay, with that being said, I would love to show you how we can automate your process. So for today's webinar, I'll be sharing with you just a simple concept on what we have been doing for many of our clients for their PO to SO with two features. We'll be showcasing to you the AI ML, where we will be able to process different formats. And not only that, we'll be showcasing to you how we can automate the SKU translation. With that being said, let me share with you how. Okay, so what we are doing here is that we will be using a digital platform. For Caffeine Care, similar to just like what I shared with you just now, we are supervising an email as a trigger point. But for this demo purpose, for this webinar purpose, I'll be using a digital platform where I'll be uploading to this platform. And this platform, you can also use it for your client. For example, rather than you have your client to email to you, you can have your client to upload their PO, their documents to this platform. So here I'll just upload a platform. Okay, let me sign in. So for this platform, I'll be using four different documents. First thing is a vertical purchase order. Second, it will be a vertical purchase order with different SKU. Third one, I'll be using a landscape purchase order. Last but not least, which is the most interesting part, is I'll be using a scanned documents which some of our clients receive. So it is a scanned documents, it is crumpled, it is not straight, and we'll still process this. So what we'll do now is very simple. What I'll do now is I'll just upload the documents. Let me get my documents again. Okay, so here I have my documents I want to upload. So the vertical, the different SKU, the landscape, and the scanned documents. I'll just upload it here. Okay, so while we are uploading, let me check whether there are any questions. Okay, so we have a questions on what types of ERP can we integrate with. For this particular demo, we'll be integrating with SAP, but we are not ERP dependent. We are able to integrate with many other ERP. If you are using SAP B1, SAP S4HANA, if you are using Oracle, if you are using Sage, if you are using IBM, you'll be able to connect with any of the ERP to automate your process. So you don't need to worry about not being able to connect with that ERP. Okay, so once I have uploaded, or once the platform has processed the documents, what will happen now? What will happen now is it will immediately extract the PO data and create the sales order in the SAP. So how do we know whether it has been processed? I will receive an email address saying that it has been processed. So let me update my folders. Okay. Okay. Yep, I have received the sales order. So when the document has been processed, what will happen here is I will receive I'll receive an email saying that this PO numbers has been processed and these are the corresponding sales order number. So again, like what I mentioned, for today's webinar, I'll be using SAP. But if you're using some other ERP, you'll be able to connect with your ERP. So don't need to worry about that. So let me just log into my ERP. Okay, so yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 emails for 4 different documents. So what I'll do now is I'll check whether this document has been fully processed or it is processed properly. And how do I do that? I'll get the sales order number from the email address and I'll just paste it here, create. And while waiting, I'll put it side by side with my documents. Okay, so this is the PO vertical. So how do I know? It's because I'll be able to see that the item description is antenna assembly. Item code is antenna 1. So what about the other documents? For example, this is a 15030. Let me check. What is this? Okay, so this is the scan documents. Let me access my scan document. So if I were to put this side by side, I'll be able to see that, yep, it is correct. It is fast plate 180 GB, fast plate 180, DPC 1003, DPC 1003. So you can see that even though it is a scanned document, it is crumpled, it is slightly tilted, we'll be able to process it. Let me show you a few others. Okay, I think it's this one. Okay, remember just now I mentioned that we can do SKU translation for you. What do I mean by that? What do I mean here is that here I have a antenna assembly, but the item code is DSK100. So this DSK100 is the convention that the buyers use, but this is not the convention that I use. So what will happen here is Complio will have automatically processed this, and based on the translation table that is provided by either the clients or provided by me, it will be able to find that, okay, DSK100 is an antenna assembly and the correct code in the system is this and that. So we'll be able to find out that. So it should be 15031. Let me just go to 15031. Okay, so what happened now is if I will just put it side by side, you'll be able to see that it is same thing, it is antenna assembly, but the material item is, rather than it's a DSK 100, it is now antenna 1. And if you were to check whether this DSK exists, this DSK will not exist in my SAP. With that being said, that's just a short demo on what we have done for our client. Let me go back to my presentation. So we have seen how using AI ML, using Azure Form Recognizer, you'll be able to process different format, even scan copies, which is a very common situation with our clients. And when we are talking about becoming better, enhancing our processes, there are 4 different ways we can do that. first and foremost is, of course, your IT transformation. You'll be able to change your company IT infrastructures to make it maybe safer. The performance is more stable, to be more agile. And second, you have a business process management software. Third one, you have outsourcing, where you will, maybe for your data extraction, data creation, you will ask some other companies to do it for you. And last but not least is RPA, which is a more predictable, but at the same time, it doesn't disrupt your process. Similar to what I shared with you just now, the process that we have implemented for our clients, we don't disrupt their processes. If they have been doing that processes, we just automate for them, and they don't need to worry about training their staff to accommodate to a new system, to a new processes, which takes a lot of times. So this is where we stay. Compleo or Simtrax, we specialize in RPA, where it is low disruption but highly predictable and fast. With that being said, thank you so much for your attention. I'll be more than happy to receive any questions that you have. So again, if you are not sure how to ask the questions, I'll just go to this part. There will be a tab that you will have here, and here you'll be able to ask any questions. So let me take a look at what questions do you have here. Go here. Okay, yep, I have a questions on security. How secure is Compleo? So for Compleo, or for what you have seen just now, we run on our system is based on Microsoft Azure, which are managed by Microsoft. And because of that, it has a good traffic manager. It has some duplication, and it is safe. They also provide a geo replication, which allows you to have a faster access to your data. Okay, so yeah, feel free to ask any other questions. We have a few more minutes for today's webinar. Let me see what other questions. Okay, so I think there's one more questions, and we will call it a day. So the questions will be more on, do Compleo or do Simtrax store the client's data? So here, let me share with you here at this point of time. Okay, so for Simtrax, what we'll be doing here is we will help to process your data. The moment there's an input coming into Compleo, we will process according to what you need. And after we have processed it, we will immediately pass on to the next stage. For example, for PO to SO, we'll pass on the data, we'll pass on the documents to your ERP. We ourselves, by default, we do not store any document, any data, unless it is specifically requested by the clients. So we do not store any data. For example, in this web application, the moment a data or document come in, we'll process it, pass on to the next stage. And after that, the data will no longer be with us. So don't need to worry about us storing your data or taking your data. Okay, so maybe I'll cover one last questions. Does it require change in my ERP system with my current ERP system? So the answer is no. First and foremost, Compleo or Simtrax, we do not replace your ERP system. The ERP system, as you can see from this architecture, it is still there. What we will be doing is you can consider us like a middleware. We'll be processing an input file and passing on to the ERP system. So again, we don't replace your ERP. We help you to enhance, to streamline your processes in the ERP system. All right. With that being said, that's all for my webinar. So I would like to say thank you so much for your time and attention. If you like to connect with me, feel free to drop me an email, drop me a call, or if you like to connect with me via LinkedIn, you can scan the QR code or there will be a link. So again, the slide will be shared with you, the recording will be shared with you, and today's webinar is one part of 4 webinars. And the next webinars or the other webinars will be on every Wednesday. So there will be one next week, next week, and next week. Same time, and we'll be sharing more information with you. All right. So thank you so much. Have a nice day.